Good afternoon. I'm Will Norton, Professor and Dean of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media, and it is my privilege to welcome you to our commencement exercises for the year 2015. If you are able, please rise for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Please join me in thanking our excellent musicians, the Sarah Isom Trio, Susan Gaston, Diane Wang, and Irene Kaufman. This is a day of celebration for the Meek School and for each of you, and we are delighted today to join with you in recognizing your loved ones. Faculty members of the school have worked diligently to help make this day possible for your son or daughter, and I want to introduce each faculty member who is on the platform today. I'm asking each to stand and remain standing when I call his or her name. Hold your applause until each has been introduced. After we have expressed our appreciation for their work, they will be seated. Charlie Mitchell, Assistant Dean and Assistant Professor. Patricia Thompson, Director of the Student Media Center and Assistant Professor. Deborah Winger, Associate Professor, Sam Talbert Lecturer and Director of Undergraduate Studies in Journalism. Scott Feeney, Assistant Professor and Director of Undergraduate Studies in Integrated Marketing Communication. Deidre Jackson, Instructor and Director of Academic Advising. Charles Overby, Visiting Professional and Director of the Overby Center for Southern Journalism and Politics. Dr. Ed Meek, who with his wife Becky endowed creation of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media in 2009. Professor Joe Atkins, Head of the Graduate Faculty in Journalism. Dr. Robert McGee, Head of the Graduate Track in Integrated Marketing Communication and Assistant Professor. Dr. Brad Schultz, Professor of Journalism. Dr. Nancy DuPont, Associate Professor of Journalism. Curtis Wilkie, Associate Professor of Journalism and an Overby Fellow. Dr. Kristen Swain, Assistant Professor. Dr. Jim Lump, Assistant Professor of Integrated Marketing Communications. Evangeline Robinson, Assistant Professor of Integrated Marketing Communications. Darren Sinefsky, Assistant Professor of Journalism and Integrated Marketing Communications. Vanessa Gregory, Assistant Professor of Journalism. Alicia Steele, Assistant Professor of Journalism. Chris Sparks, Assistant Professor of Integrated Marketing Communications. Robin Street, Senior Lecturer in Journalism and Public Relations. Ellen Meacham, Adjunct Instructor in Journalism. Roy Frostenson, Assistant Director of the Student Media Center and Instructor. Deborah Novak, Adjunct Instructor and Creative Services Manager, Student Media Center. We also recognize those who are not on the platform but who are crucial to the Meek School. Fred Caraway, accountant for the school, Mickey Newton, videographer and video editor, Shannon Dixon, operations supervisor, and Paula Hurdle, secretary receptionist. Dr. Jeannie Atkins, Associate Professor at the Meek School of Journalism and Executive Director for the Mississippi Center for Freedom of Information, could not be with us today. Dr. Atkins has taught at the Meek School since 1986. As Executive Director of the Mississippi Center for Freedom of Information, Dr. Atkins takes care of administrative matters, edits and writes articles for the FOI Spotlight, the newsletter. She also participates in the annual Secrecy series and answers questions about access issues raised by reporters, editors, and citizens in Mississippi. Dr. Atkins is retiring. Her legacy of excellence in the classroom has resulted in dozens and dozens of outstanding students. We want her to be remembered for her work in the Meek School, and we are raising funds for an endowed Jeannie Atkins Scholarship. Let's express our appreciation to Dr. Atkins for a career dedicated to excellence in the classroom. Our speaker today is Manager of Social Responsibility at FedEx. She directs and implements the company's community outreach strategy in the areas of disaster relief, safety, environment, education, and diversity in national and international markets. FedEx is a corporation known for delivering the world to our doorsteps, and today's speaker represents the heart of that corporation. Many in the Mid-South know about her magnificent accomplishments, but we know her as the energetic freshman journalism major from Clarksdale, Mississippi, who started taking courses in Brady Hall in 1975. The faculty instantly saw her potential, and we did everything we could to make sure this enormous talent was prepared. She usually was way ahead of all of us. She was the first black female named to the Ole Miss Student Hall of Fame. She was chosen by Glamour Magazine as one of the top 10 college women in the United States. She was on 23 university-wide committees. Our speaker is a charter member of the Ole Miss Women's Council and was inducted into the Alumni Hall of Fame in 1998. 4 years later, she served as president of the Ole Miss Alumni Association. We know today's speaker as a student who was being recruited to outstanding media outlets and corporate entities. When some of our alumni introduced her to leading figures in Washington, she immediately had opportunities to work in the White House. We know that James Meredith was the first African American to enroll at Ole Miss. But we know Rose Jackson Flannery as a fledgling feature writer at the Commercial Appeal who agreed to come back to Ole Miss to help the university understand the needs of African American students and to help those African American students understand that they could thrive on this campus. We know today's speaker as a person who truly made Ole Miss a vital option for African American students. And we are proud to have one of our own as today's graduation speaker. Please give Rose Jackson Flannery a warm Meek School welcome.
My first job after I left Ole Miss was with IBM in sales and marketing in the Memphis branch office. After I began work at IBM, I learned that I would be traveling back and forth to Atlanta, Georgia for another year of school. Let me repeat that. another year of school. You see, IBM believed in developing and training their new hires. They want everyone who worked for them to understand the obstacles faced by small business and big business. So as a print journalism major, I found myself surrounded by new college graduates from around the country who were majoring in business, marketing, accounting, engineering, and information systems. We studied inventory control, accounts payable, income and expense reports. We learned how to make effective sales presentations and marketing presentations. And my favorite, COBOL, RPG, and basic programming. Here's the catch. We were tested. To keep your job, you were required to pass each module in the year-long training program. Did I already tell you I was a print journalism major? I was doing great until I got to Module 3, programming. They taught us how to program. If your program ran, you passed. If it didn't, you failed. There was no such thing as getting it almost right. Let me also add that this was during the dark ages, before people had a computer on every desk. Under tremendous pressure, I took the timed RPG programming exam, and I failed. I failed. Did I mention I was the first African-American to graduate valedictorian in my high school in Clarkston, Mississippi? I graduated with honors from Ole Miss. I was named to the Student Hall of Fame. I was inducted into Omicron Delta Kappa. I was a Taylor medalist, but I failed that RPG test. My instructors decided to give me an additional day to study, and they said I could take it one more time. They even gave me a little hint: you failed your calculation specifications. I went back to my apartment, I closed my bedroom door, and I called my grandma Lily in Louisville, Mississippi on the phone. I boo-hooed. I mean, alligator tears and a kind of crying you do. And all I wanted to do was my grandmama to pray for me. And she said, it's going to be okay, baby. Pass or fail. Grandma, love you. It's going to be all right. And then she prayed and she prayed and she prayed. I got up, I called one of my friends who was great at programming. She stayed up with me half the night, and we reviewed calc specs. The next day after class, I took the test, and I passed. Y'all clap. That weekend, my father called me, and if you look up Daddy's Girl in the dictionary, you see my picture. We were very close. And he said, your grandmama told me to call and check on you. With a little jealousy in his voice, he said, why didn't you call your daddy? I said, Dad, I don't mean no harm, but I needed someone who had a hotline to God. I knew your prayer would get through, but not as quick as grandmama's, because she serves on the executive council. Good afternoon. I want to thank Dean Norton for the gracious introduction. When I was a student on this campus, he was my daddy away from home, and my daddy was tough, but Dean Norton was tougher. To the faculty and staff of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media, a special thanks for all that they've contributed to this university, to Charles Overby and Dr. Ed Meek, to the family here and friends, and most important, to the graduates of the amazing class of 2015. Good afternoon. So if you haven't figured it out by now, my first piece of advice to you is, graduates, don't be afraid to fail. Successful people fail. But they accept failure and continue on, knowing that failure is just a natural consequence of trying. I want you to know I went on to have almost 13 great years with IBM on the local, regional, area level. While Dr. Norton did share some of my successes at Ole Miss, he didn't share any of my failures. And let me tell you now, you don't have to worry about failing because nobody ever puts it on the resume. But let me just tell you this. I lost the Camp favorite election my freshman year, but I won my sophomore year. They didn't pick me for Omicron Delta Kappa my junior year, but I got in my senior year. I failed at my first relationship at Ole Miss when I was really fell in love. But I met my husband later, and we've been together 34 years. Richard, where are you, baby? Raise your hand, raise your hand. I lost a Miss Ole Miss election. I don't know why I was not Miss Ole Miss. I'm an honorary Miss Ole Miss now. And for the life of me, I still don't understand why I didn't make the top 10 best dressed. I quote Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, y'all know who Michael Jordan is, don't you? Okay. I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. So here's a question I'm often asked. How, in the mid-'70s, when there was very little diversity at Ole Miss, why in the world did you choose to come to Ole Miss? My high school guidance counselor had identified me as a candidate for a new program Ole Miss had designed to better recruit students of color. One day, out of the blue, or should I say out of the red and blue, Ole Miss sent me a letter and invited me and dozens of other top African-American students from across the state to visit campus. My best friend from high school and I accepted the invitation for a campus visit, pretty much for one reason. We were excused from high school to travel to Oxford. And that was a big deal in those days, a free trip. What 17-year-old student was going to say no to a free trip and a free get-out-of-class pass for 2 days? After visiting high school students, we were invited to attend a class of our choice, and I picked a journalism class. I was editor of the Clarksdale High School Spotlight. I had my own column, Rose's Rap. And they told us to just sit in the class, be quiet, and listen. But as you can probably guess, I did more than just listen. I asked questions. I asked a lot of questions. That's who I was, and that's who I still am, a curious student of the world. So even as a high school student visiting Ole Miss, I felt at home. I had the best time, and I knew when I left Oxford that day, I was coming back home. The biggest barrier to me coming to Ole Miss, my parents, they were afraid. My daddy might have been worried, but he couldn't have been too surprised. After all, he instilled the principles in me that led me to Ole Miss: courage, self-respect, open-mindedness, and most of all, an insistence on excellence no matter how difficult the circumstances. When I was around 8 years old, my dad and I had gone to visit my grandmother Lily in Lewisville, Mississippi. And on the way back home, we were coming through Ackerman, Mississippi, and I spot an ice cream sign. And I say to my dad, I want ice cream. He pulls over, get out of the car, he grabs my hand, we skip to the counter, and he asks the gentleman behind the counter for a cone of ice cream. And the gentleman says, we don't serve blacks here. My daddy knew the best thing to do was to get back in his car and go home, but I looked at him with those, I know you can get ice cream eyes. And he said to the gentleman, we'll take it from the back. And the gentleman said, we don't serve blacks from anywhere. My daddy said, she's a child, it's a shame that you don't. He basically drags me back to the car. We get in the car, we're not a mile down the road, a cop pulls him over, snatches my daddy from the car, and says, you don't talk back to white people. A younger cop says to him, let him go, there's a child in the car. We're not a mile out of town, my daddy pulls over, and he tries to explain to me what happened and why he couldn't buy me ice cream. And I didn't realize then, but I realized later in life, for a college-educated man with a master's degree who served his country, who served as a teacher and taught students, who paid his taxes not to be able to buy his child ice cream, how much that must have hurt from time to time during his life. But here's what my daddy said to me on that day that made me the person I am today, and I pray to God will always be. He said to me, sweetheart, there are good white people in this world, and there are bad white people in this world. There are good black people in this world, and there are bad black people in this world. But with hard work, a little bit of self-confidence, and faith in God, there is nothing that you cannot do, and I expect no less out of you. So my advice to every student here, it's not going to be easy. You have to work hard. And sometimes even when you work hard, it doesn't work out, but you keep going. Believe in yourself, have self-confidence, and keep the faith. The fact that I can remember so vividly what my daddy said to me that night outside of Akron, Mississippi, is the greatest proof I know that words change the world. That night, my daddy freed me from fearing people. At the same time, he raised the bar of expectations. He insisted on excellence regardless of how hard things get. The stories we tell about the world around us, about ourselves, and to one another are conduits for tremendous change. You can look as far away as Nepal or as close as home as Baltimore and see that our world needs storytellers to make change. This is why I went into journalism and mass communications, and I've never looked back or been prouder to be a journalism graduate. Make no mistakes, your words and stories carry the power to make change in the world. Right now in your pocket, you have a mobile phone that gives you more reporting power than the entire television network I had on the day I graduated from Ole Miss. Sure, a job in journalism or mass communications might be harder to come by today, but at the same time, you can't say you're not connected. It's about what you do with those connections that's going to matter. It's about what you do with those connections that's going to matter. The world will always need people who are dedicated to truth-telling, objective, unbiased, and well-informed observers of people and world events. Professionals reporting what they see and hear with their only agenda being to inform, educate, and shed light on issues that some would prefer to keep in the dark. They call it a career path for a reason. It's a journey, and you won't know how the path ends until you get there. My career has taken me into most of the areas of media and mass communications you can think of integrated marketing and mass communications. I reported for the Delta Democrat Times in Greenville, Mississippi, and the Memphis Commercial Appeal in Memphis, Tennessee. I worked on behalf of journalism organizations and nonprofits. I worked with marketing professionals at IBM and journalists from corporate communications at International Paper and FedEx. I haven't seen it all, but I've sure seen a lot. And I'm here to tell you, no matter where your career takes you, the stories you will write have the power to lift up communities and change lives if you choose to use your gifts. My third and last piece of advice is to be a servant leader. Be willing to help others as others have helped you. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. As Wentz Henderson wrote, the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. When I worked in disaster relief at FedEx and served on the corporate advisory board of the American Red Cross, I learned the two worst things about disaster. The two worst things about disasters. Number one, that it happened at all. But number two, that eventually the media pulls out. When the media stops telling the story, that's when the financial support dries up. That's when volunteers suddenly get harder to find. Stories, just like a package full of food and vital medicine, have the power to save lives. Stories connect us. At FedEx, we say, a connected world is a better world, and I believe that. Reporting and storytelling give the world clarity. You see yourself more clearly, you pay attention to the world. Look what's happening in Ferguson, in Baltimore, and Nepal. Think about the ways you see the world differently today versus the day you first set foot on this campus. The world's a different place, but that's in part because you're a different person. You are prepared. You are ready. I won't get you to say the words next. You have a degree from one of the top programs in this country. Ole Miss has trained you to tell stories, to market stories, to be fearless in the face of the unknown. What better training could there be for meeting the future? Today, you're being given a glorious blank page. You're about to begin work on the most important story you'll ever file as a journalist, the one you write about yourself. The one you write about yourself. Spoiler alert, it's going to be the most important, surprising, and rewarding story you will ever write. I can't wait to see how each and every one of your stories turn out. I feel very fortunate to step back from the microphone and become a part of your audience. I quote Mae West, "You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough." Thank you very much.
Ain't she something? Now we recognize our graduates. Will candidates for the Master of Arts please rise and come forward for conferring of degrees? Please hold your applause until all the candidates have been recognized.
Tyler Jarrell Carter. Misunderstood, but my heart is good. Like to write because my soul is tight. Like to dress, not to impress. God made me a king to chase my dreams.
Nicholas Kahara Kibugi. Huge thanks to Claude Reeves and Shan Patel. Couldn't have done this without you. IMC professors are the best.
Adrienne Elizabeth McDill. Adrienne of Newton, Mississippi receives a master's degree in journalism with an IMC emphasis. She thanks her family for love and support.
Austin Kent Miller. Austin Miller receives a master's in IMC. He completed a 2-year assistantship with the athletics department. His future plans are undecided.
Christopher David Rupel. Chris is a 2-time Meek School graduate with a BA in journalism and an MA in IMC. He began working full-time in sponsorship marketing at FedEx in March.
Jacqueline Denise Slater. Jackie Slater lives in Olive Branch. The first DeSoto campus IMC graduate student, Jackie shares her second graduate degree with her 3 children.
Bobby Donnell Steele, Jr. It's been a great ride. Thank you to all who helped me on this journey. Old dog, new tricks, feats don't fail me now. Hotty toddy and go Bucks.
Frank William Trapp, Jr. Will Trapp graduates with a master's in IMC. He thanks his family, friends, staff, and support at the University of Mississippi.
Xiaoting Zhang is proud to be a graduate from Ole Miss. She enjoyed the experience and says thanks to her mom and family.
Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Science in Integrated Marketing Communication please rise and come forward for conferring of degrees? Again, please try to constrain your exuberance until all the candidates have been recognized.
Teresa Elise Hendricks, summa cum laude. Teresa Hendricks plans to pursue her passions with her career in Memphis while writing and designing for her blog and Etsy business, Sweet Like Tea. Michael Anthony Alonso. Michael Alonso of Palm Beach, Florida, is graduating with a degree in Integrated Marketing Communications. In the fall, he will be relocating to New York City to pursue a career in advertising. Emily Caitlin Armour. Emily Amar of Houston, Texas, receives an integrated marketing degree with a business minor. She will begin her marketing career in Houston. Abby Nicole Bakersmith. Abby Bakersmith of St. Louis, Missouri, receives an IMC degree with a business minor. She will pursue a career in public relations. Ethan Henry Ball. Ethan Ball receives an IMC degree, none of which would have been possible without the love and support of his mother and father, John and Glenda Ball. Lauren Elise Bartelli. Lauren of Placentia, California, receives a BS in IMC with a business minor. She thanks her family for the endless love, faith, and support. Mara Olivia Bensing. Mara Bensing of Reno, Nevada, receives an integrated marketing communications degree with a minor in business administration. Hotty toddy. Victoria Patrice Berry. Victoria Berry receives an IMC degree. She thanks her mother, Patricia, family, and friends for the constant encouragement, love, and support. David Bradford Bloxham. David of Fort Worth, Texas, is an IMC major. He credits his Christian faith, his close family, and his SAE fraternity for 4 great years. Brittany Brianna Braddock. Brittany of Tupelo is receiving an IMC degree after rocking out her Ole Miss classes while always being an hour away. Elizabeth McNeely Brooks. Nellie Brooks from Dallas, Texas, receives a degree in Integrated Marketing Communications and a minor in Business Relations. She is so thankful to her parents for everything they do for her. Molly Elizabeth Burns. Molly receives an IMC degree with a business minor, and she thanks her parents for their love and looks forward to returning to the Grove next fall. Devana Nicole Kane. Devana of Canton, Mississippi, receives an IMC degree. She would like to thank God, her family, and friends for the love and support she received. Hotty toddy. Camille Elizabeth Cantrell. Camille Cantrell of Spanish Fort, Alabama, receives an Integrated Marketing Communications degree and is pursuing graduate school next fall. Catherine Ruth Carter. Catherine Carter of Little Rock, Arkansas, receives an IMC degree. She thanks her friends and family for their support throughout her wonderful years as an Ole Miss Rebel. Emily Nicole Seelick. Emily receives an IMC degree with a minor in business. She thanks her amazing parents, Joe and Sammy, for supporting her throughout this journey. Taylor Elizabeth Clark. Taylor is receiving an IMC degree with business minor. She wants to thank her friends and family for the love and support. Kelsey Nicole Klein, magna cum laude. Kelsey Klein of St. Louis receives an integrated marketing communications degree with a business minor. She begins her career for Insight Global in June. Kirsten Amber Cook. Kirsten Cook of Winter Park, Florida receives an IMC degree. She wants to thank her mother and grandparents. She could have not done this without them. Anna Kate Craig. Anna Kate of Jackson, Tennessee is so happy to be done, but hates to leave Ole Miss. Hotty toddy. Catherine Blair Crawford, magna cum laude. Catherine Crawford receives a BS in Integrated Marketing Communications. She thanks her family and friends for all their love and support. Karina Combs Cruz. Karina receives her IMC degree and quotes, "Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it." Taylor Michelle Davenport, magna cum laude. Taylor Davenport receives an IMC degree. She is moving to Nashville for nonprofit work. She thanks her family for their support. Go Rebs. Leslie Ann Dickinson, cum laude. Leslie is among the Meek School of Journalism and New Media's proud graduates. Peter James Englert. Peter of Olive Branch is receiving his degree in IMC. He's leaving for New York City tomorrow and hopes to never return. Love you, Mom. Chandler Farrell. Chandler Farrell of Dallas, Texas receives an IMC degree. She thanks her family and friends for the love and support. Hotty toddy. Emily Faith Forsyth. Emily of Dallas, Texas receives an IMC degree with a media sales emphasis. She thanks her mom for her love and support. William Doss Fowler, magna cum laude. William of Destin, Florida receives an IMC degree with an emphasis in writing. He is pursuing a career in political campaigns. Cody Rika Fullenweiler. Cody from Denver, Colorado receives an IMC degree with an emphasis in PR. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for all the love and support you provided. Hashtag Hotty Toddy, hashtag Ole Miss Hockey. Michael Shea Gabriel Shell. Shea receives an IMC degree, and he thanks his parents and professors for their guidance during an incredible 4 years at Ole Miss. Sarah Frances Gaines. Sarah of Huntsville, Texas receives a degree in Integrated Marketing Communications. She thanks her family, especially her mom, dad, Savannah, and Stratton. Peyton Lindsay Green. Peyton of Easton, Connecticut receives a degree in IMC. She thanks her family and friends for the love and laughter. Hotty toddy and go Rebs. Paige Otto Gustafson. Paige receives an IMC degree with a business minor. She wants to thank her family for all their love and support. Emily Adele Haberstroh. Emily from St. Charles, Missouri thanks her family, Ole Miss Track and Field, along with her Tri-Delt sisters for their support. Kimberly Tyler Herring. Kimberly receives a degree in Integrated Marketing Communications. She thanks her family for their love and support. Hotty toddy. Colton Jordan Harrington, summa cum laude. Colton of Enterprise receives a bachelor's degree in IMC and leaves for LA tomorrow to begin work in the film industry. Hashtag blessed. Miller Marie Hollingsworth. Miller of Brandon, Mississippi receives an IMC degree with an English minor and a PR emphasis. She will attend Georgetown University in the fall. Hotty toddy. David Bransford Holt, cum laude. David double majored in art and IMC. David will attend the Medical Sales College in Denver, Colorado, and he plans to pursue a career in medical device sales. Alex David Josephson. Alex is graduating with a degree in IMC. He would like to thank his brothers and his parents for all of their love and support. Margot Genevieve Jurgensen, cum laude. Margot of Louisiana is excited to set out on a one-year journey of marketing, ministry, and leadership. Hashtag Old Miss IMC. Lauren Marie Kasayan from Belmar, New Jersey, receives an IMC degree, and after graduation will move to New York City and pursue a career in graphic design and branding. Robert Kyle Kiefer. Robert is among the Meek School of Journalism and New Media's proud graduates. Virginia Channing Kennard. Channing, she's from Philadelphia, Mississippi, and receives a degree in integrated marketing communications. She thanks everyone for the love and support. Alaire Christine Kirk, magna cum laude. Alaire has enjoyed her time at Ole Miss being the red solo cup at the baseball games and is headed to New York City to start her new life. Cameron Elise Class, magna cum laude. Cameron of Greensboro, North Carolina, receives a Bachelor of Science in IMC with a focus in environmental studies. Alexander John Cole. Alex is from Fort Lauderdale, graduating with an IMC degree and has enjoyed all that Ole Miss had to offer. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for the opportunity. Sean Patrick Laughlin. Sean is a proud graduate of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media. Robert Elbridge Lee IV, magna cum laude. An IMC honors graduate, Bridge is leaving Tuesday to backpack in Europe for 3 months and hopes to join the Peace Corps to work with youth thereafter. Kelly Anna Litzenfelder. Kelly feels #blessed to receive her degree in integrated marketing communications. She says thanks to her wonderful family. Alex Carl Lamaro. Alex of New Jersey receives an integrated marketing communications degree, and he thanks his family for the love and support. Hotty toddy. Mario Dante Mamone. Mario is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, graduating with a BS in integrated marketing communications with a specialization in awesomeness. Laura Michelle Marcucci. There are no happy endings. Endings are the saddest part, so just give Laura a happy middle and a very happy start. Hashtag thanks, Mom and Dad. Jacob Michael Martin. Jake Martin, recent grad, looking for a job. So if you know of any jobs, call me or hit me up on MySpace. Must be dog friendly. Payment in gum. Virginia Wright Mayo, cum laude. Virginia Mayo of Oxford receives an integrated marketing communications degree, and upon graduation, she hopes to work in public relations. Lainey Marie Mays, cum laude. Lainey of Oxford receives an IMC degree with business and English minors. She thanks her parents for their relentless support. Laura Nicole Meske. Laura is from Texas and receives her integrated marketing communications degree. She thanks her parents for the love and support. Hotty toddy. Lauren Elizabeth McCall. Lauren of Lexington, Kentucky receives a degree in integrated marketing communications. She thanks her family and friends for love and support. Hotty toddy. Allison Louise Moore, cum laude. Allison is from Nashville and receives her degree in integrated marketing communications and would like to thank her friends and family for all of their love and support. Nolan Thomas Morin. Nolan is from Georgia and receives a degree in IMC. He thanks God, his family, and his friends. Jana Elizabeth Newcomer, magna cum laude. Jana is from Rolette, Texas, and receives a degree in integrated marketing communications. She thanks the Lord for his faithfulness. Jeffrey Alexander Nichols. Alex Nichols is from Mobile, Alabama, and receives his degree in integrated marketing communications. He thanks God, his parents, his sister, the track team, and the 521 Club. Carolyn McLean Nolte. Carolyn thanks her parents for giving her the gift of Ole Miss, a gift so good that she regrets passing all of her classes in 4 short years. Tiffany Odom. If you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, you don't ask what seat, you just get on. So I'm currently boarding. Tiffany did it. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Ashlyn Parker Peterson. Ashlyn Peterson received an IMC degree. She'd like to thank her family for stockpiling pictures that prevent her from running for president. Robert Phillips IV. Robert is a proud graduate of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media. William Parks Pillow, Jr. Now available for immediate hire. Call 662-397-5612. That number again, 662-397-5612. Jane Elizabeth Pittman, cum laude. Jane Pittman of Denver, Colorado receives an IMC degree with a minor in business. She will move to Memphis to work for an online fashion company. Donald Brett Plummeyer. Brett of Austin, Texas thanks his dad and mom for all their love and support. That said, summer intercession, you're the real MVP, hashtag Go Rebs. Lauren McKenzie Portice. Lauren receives an IMC degree with a business minor. Special thanks to her family for supporting her while she pursued her dreams at Ole Miss. Tessa Joy Pointer. Thanks to everyone who laughed, cried, sang, or danced with Tessa over the last 3 years, especially her husband. She couldn't have done this without him. Lauren Alexandra Raphael, cum laude. Fins up for Lauren Raphael because she is graduating today, but no one ever really graduates from Ole Miss, so really I hashtag won the day, hashtag HYDR. Laura Leone Reed. Laura Reed of Dallas, Texas receives an IMC degree. She thanks her parents, her brother Jay, and her sister Lee for the love and support. Laura Elizabeth Rutledge, cum laude. Laura Rutledge of Madison receives an IMC degree minoring in business and psychology. She will earn her master's in counseling at seminary. Evan Michael Richardson. Evan of South Haven, Mississippi is an IMC grad. He thanks his parents, family, and his love, Jessica, for their love and support. Hashtag Ole Miss Rebel. Tessa Morgan Riley. Tessa is among the Meek School of Journalism and New Media's proud graduates. Thanks her family for the support and love they provided. Patrick Ryan Salter. As one of the very first IMC students, Patrick is very proud of how far the program has come, thanks to friends and family who helped him get to this day. Kimberly Aaron Sanner, cum laude. Kim leaves Ole Miss for an advertising position in New York City, where she will quickly learn the delicate balance of rent versus designer shoes. Janelle M. Santerpio. Janelle of Boston receives an IMC degree with a minor in business. She thanks her family for the love and support. Fins up. Olivia Joan Schroeder. Olivia is receiving a degree in IMC. She thanks her parents for everything they've done, including allowing her to move back to London. Hotty toddy. Claudia Andrea Sequeira. Claudia of Houston, Texas receives an IMC degree with an emphasis in PR and a minor in business administration. Gracias, Mama and Papa. Graham Perry Shaw. Graham is a proud graduate of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media. Lauren Chandler Short, cum laude. Chandler has been an active member of her sorority, business fraternity, and honors society while obtaining her IMC degree in only 3 years. Jillian Keys Six. Jillian of Brookhaven receives a degree in IMC. She thanks her family and friends for their love and encouragement. Hotty toddy. Mary Daniel Simpson, summa cum laude. Mary Daniel Simpson of Little Rock, Arkansas receives an IMC degree. She thanks her family, friends, and professors for their support. Go Rebs. Taylor Brandon Sims. Taylor is a proud graduate of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media. Mary Adele Smith. Mary is among the Meek School of Journalism and New Media's proud graduates. Robert Palmer Smith. Scooter Smith receives a degree in Integrated Marketing Communications. He thanks his friends and family for the support and good times. HYDR. Got it. Thanks. I'm learning stuff here as all right. Ivy Millicent Swan. Ivy of Hattiesburg receives an Integrated Marketing Communications degree. She thanks her family for the love and support. Go Rebs. Kevin Kennedy Tillis. Thanks to my family for unconditional love and support. Isaiah chapter 52, verse 7. Leah Eleanor Underwood. Leah of Atlanta, Georgia graduates with a degree in IMC and a business minor. She plans to return to Atlanta to pursue a career in marketing. Dan Lewis Vinn. You can't squeeze the best time of your life into only 4 years, so stay for 5. Hotty toddy. Lauren Elizabeth Walker, cum laude. Lauren Walker of Madison receives a degree in IMC. She thanks her parents, brother, and friends for the love and support. Go Rebs. Gabriella Adiela Welch. Gabriella of Atlanta receives an IMC degree with an emphasis in magazine publishing. She can't wait for the adventures that await. Daimon Lacandia White. It's been real. It's been a journey of nonstop growth. Thanks, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Daimon White was here and she blossomed. Hashtag Go Team. Erin Elizabeth Whitehead. Erin of Atlanta receives her IMC degree and thanks her family and the faculty for the support as she begins her career with Google. Grace Mundy Wickwire. Grace of Baltimore receives an Integrated Marketing Communications degree. She thanks her loving and supportive family. Hotty toddy. Kara Frances Wigmore. There's no greater happiness than to be an Ole Miss rebel. Hashtag hotty toddy. Hashtag Pi Phi love. Hashtag Thank you, Mom and Dad, for everything. Chloe Echo Wilson. Chloe Wilson of Dallas receives an IMC degree with a specialization in magazines and a minor in business. She thanks her family for the love.
Will candidates for the Bachelor of Arts in Journalism please rise and come forward for conferring of degrees?
Sarah Bracy Penn, summa cum laude. Sarah Bracy receives a BA in journalism and will attend New York University in the fall, pursuing an MA in magazine journalism. Hotty toddy and beat Bama again. Gabriel Rashim Kinte Austin. Gabriel of Crystal Springs, Mississippi, receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis. He'll be starting a job as a reporter at WTVA in Tupelo. Mallory Murphy Bailey of Madison receives a journalism degree with a print and magazine emphasis and art minor. She thanks her family for love and support. Michaela Lynn Beckler. Michaela receives a journalism degree with a print emphasis, a specialization in magazine services, and a French minor, hotty toddy. Nicole Marie Bounds. Nicole Bounds of Newton receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis. She thanks her family for love and support, hotty toddy. Jared Lawrence Boyd. Jared of Memphis, Tennessee thanks Ole Miss for 4 years he'll never forget. For the pieces that he will have trouble remembering, he'll rely on the friends he made that will last him a lifetime. Carson Nicole Brandenburg, cum laude. Carson of Louisville, Kentucky, receives a journalism degree with a print emphasis. She thanks her parents and husband for their support. Allison Lane Brooks. Allison of Houston receives a journalism degree with an English minor. She appreciates her family's love and encouragement. Fins up. Amber Brianna Bryant Singletary. Vini Vidi Vici. Everything Amber is not made her everything she is. Thanks to my parents for not cutting me off, I'm a big girl now. Robert Houston Buckley. Houston Buckley of Tupelo receives a journalism degree with a print emphasis. Thanks to Mom and Dad, Houston didn't fail. Go Rebs. John Ryan Chicoli. John of St. Louis receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis. He thanks his parents, the Ole Miss hockey team, and a special thanks to Dr. Nancy DuPont, a great teacher and friend. Chandler Brooke Clarkson. Chandler Clarkson of Franklin, Tennessee, receives a journalism degree with a print emphasis. She thanks her parents for their love and support. Tisha Christina Coleman. The potential for greatness lives within each of us. Thank you to my family, friends, and professors for molding me into the woman I am today. Hashtag one day I'll have my own magazine. Margaret Elizabeth Collins. Margaret thanks her family and the faculty for this diploma. She dedicates it to her dog, both libraries, the Kardashians, Adderall, and the parking ticket lady. Alexandra Reed Corbin. Allie Corbin of Kansas City receives a journalism degree and an art minor. She thanks her amazing parents for their unwavering support. Heather Elizabeth Cray. Heather Cray receives a journalism degree with an emphasis in broadcast and public relations. She thanks her family for continued love and support. Hotty toddy. Ashley Jordan Culpepper. Ashley minored in sociology. She's a track alumnus, M Club member, and Newswatch anchor. She plans on living in New York City after graduation. Taylor Janae DeLandro. Taylor from New Orleans is an Ole Miss alumna, Pinterest addict, woman of her word, and currently fearing nothing. Markeisha Shrey Dickens. Markeisha of Olive Branch receives a journalism degree. She thanks her family and friends for their support. It's only the beginning. Sarah Park Douglas. Sarah receives a journalism degree with a print and broadcast relations emphasis and an art history minor. She thanks her family for their love and support. Ashley Rebecca Dunn. Ashley of Leesburg, Virginia, receives a journalism degree with print emphasis, specialization in magazine services, and an English minor. She thanks her family for love and support. Go Rebs. Kayana Olivier Floyd receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis. She thanks her parents for steering her towards success. Sarah Teresa Giles. Sarah receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis. She will continue her job as a hockey reporter, hotty toddy. Jacob Gregory Greenway. Jacob receives his bachelor's in journalism with an emphasis in public relations. He wants to thank God, family, and friends in helping achieve this. Hotty toddy. Sydney Hembry. Sydney is graduating with a broadcast degree and an emphasis in PR. She'd like to thank her family and teachers for their guidance. Shauna Mackenzie Hicks, cum laude. Mackenzie of Athens, Alabama, graduates with a degree in journalism and a magazine specialization. She thanks her family and friends for their love and support. Anna Elizabeth Higginbotham. Anna would like to thank her parents and professors for believing in her goals and love of journalism. Anna has loved every part of being an Ole Miss Rebel. Nancy Morris Hogan. Nancy Hogan of Atlanta, Georgia, wants to thank her parents for their constant love and support. Go Rebs. Kristen Cornise Hogans. No cliche quotes, no thank yous, or doing the most. Just a boast to end up on your IG post. Kristen is wrapping it up like your favorite TV host. Kristen Lynn Jackson. Netflix junkie, professional shower singer, bold but no bully. Kristen blocks people quicker than she should, but what is for her will not pass her by. Hashtag thanks mom and dad. Felicia Linnell Jackson. After 4 long years, Felicia graduates with a degree in journalism. Goodbye, Ole Miss. It's been real. Hashtag no more ramen noodles. Devin Jones. Devin of Mendenhall, Mississippi, receiving a degree in journalism and a broadcast emphasis. He thanks his friends and family for their support. Hashtag sweet graduation Saturday. Hayden Hunter King. Hayden of San Diego, California, receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis. He thanks his family and friends for their support. Once a rebel, always a rebel. Hotty toddy. Leanne Kozlow. Leanne of Texas receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis and an English minor. She thanks her family for loving and believing in her dreams. Things are bigger in Texas, but better in the Grove. Lindsay Sable Langston. Lindsay of Dallas receives a journalism degree with a specialization in public relations and a minor in Spanish. She thanks her family for their love and support. Gianna Leone. The Yankee defeated the South once again. Hashtag I'm from Boston. Hashtag JK I love the South. Hashtag y'all. Virginia Evans Lucky. Ginny wants to thank her parents for their constant love and support. She would not be up here without them. Love, hugs and kisses, and hotty toddy. Anne Willette McGraw. Anne receives a journalism degree with an emphasis in public relations. She thanks her family for their love and support. Jordan Aaron McKeever. Jordan of Germantown receives a journalism degree with a minor in theater. She thanks her family for their support. Win the day. Mallory Brooke Mixon. Mallory Mixon of Crowder, Mississippi, receives a journalism degree with a news editorial emphasis. She thanks her parents and fiancé for everything. Camille Elise Mullins, magna cum laude. Camille receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis. She has enjoyed her time at Ole Miss and thanks her mother for unyielding support. Emily Shea Newton, cum laude. She thanks Jesus Christ, her family and friends, and her professors for their love and support throughout this journey. Hotty toddy. Kendall Christine Noon. Kendall Noon of Houston, Texas, receives a journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis. She thanks her family here today for the loving, unending support. Rudolph Matthew Porchavina III, sorry if I did that wrong. Matthew wants to thank his parents for all their support from all across the country. Julia Radcliffe is another proud graduate of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media. Courtney Lord Robb Richards. Courtney Richards of Texas receives her journalism degree with a broadcast emphasis and a specialization in public relations. Hotty toddy. Samantha Rose Rippon, cum laude. Samantha of Oxford receives a journalism degree with a print emphasis. She wants to thank her family and especially her twin sister. Charlotte Mona Roy. Charlotte is an accomplished graduate of the Meek School of Journalism. Bridget Ann Brunge. Bridget Ann of Baltimore, Maryland, receives a journalism degree with a print emphasis and a concentration in magazine service. Ryan Nolan Schmeltz. Ryan from Cockeysville, Maryland, thanks his family and friends for making this once unrealistic opportunity a reality. God bless you all. Christopher Brandon Skaggs. Christopher is among the Meek School of Journalism and New Media's proud graduates. Chelsea Laurel Skinner. Chelsea received a broadcast journalism degree with a public relations specialization. She will continue with her master's at Rowan. Clancy Lane Smith, cum laude. Clancy Smith of Saltillo lost her passport but found her passion, thanks to the Meek School, reporting everywhere from the Mississippi Delta to Ethiopia. Peyton Wetherington Spear. Peyton is from LA, graduating with a degree in journalism. He will be working for Disney Gulf and thanks his friends and family. Caroline Cullum Stroud. Caroline Stroud receives a journalism degree with a PR emphasis. She believes in the power of perseverance and is proud to be an Ole Miss rebel. Margaret Louise Strudwitt is a proud graduate of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media. Ethan Hill Turner. Ethan is receiving a degree in journalism and wants to thank his family and friends for all their support while at Ole Miss. Go Rebs. Alexandra McHale Wade is graduating with a degree in broadcast journalism. She wants to thank her parents for all the support as she begins her career as a reporter. Kristen Nicole Waldrop. Kristen is a journalism graduate with an emphasis in broadcast and a minor in education. It's been a long road, but she made it. Hotty toddy. Philip Waller. Philip Waller of Madison graduates with a journalism and public policy degree. He'll head to D.C. to pursue a master's degree at GW. Hotty toddy. Amanda Danielle Wilson. Amanda Wilson of Atlanta receives a journalism degree today and would like to thank her parents and family for their love and support. Jordan Alexandra Wolfhurst. Jordan is a proud graduate of the Meek School of Journalism and New Media.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our alma mater. After the singing of the alma mater, will the graduates please remain standing while the audience sits?
Way Way down south in Mississippi, there's a spot that ever calls, where among the hills enfolded stands old alma mater's halls, where the trees lift high their branches to the whispering southern breeze. There, oh, Miss is calling, calling to our hearts fond memories. With united hearts we praise thee, all our loyalty is thine. Alma mater, may thy light forever shine. May it brighter grow and brighter, and with deep affection true, our thoughts shall ever cluster round thee, dear old red and blue. May thy fame throughout the nation, through thy sons and daughters grow. May thy name forever awaken in our hearts a tender glow. May thy counsel and thy spirit ever keep us one in this, that our own shall be thine honor, now and ever, dear, O Miss.
Class of 2015, are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2015.